Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Reexamining the Theoretical Foundation of Social Work Practice Conference. My name is Kaya Richardson, and today I'll be discussing what a theory is, how social workers use theories, and we're going to detail a little bit about a few different types of theories that social workers use. Is everybody familiar with a theory? Well, if not, a theory is a well thought out and evidence-based concept or idea that explains observation, events, behaviors, and situations. Social workers use theories to help them explain, understand, or make sense of a situation or behavior. For example, if a social worker has a client who can't sit down in class, who's very destructive, who can't focus, she may turn to a theory to explain his behavior or factors that may contribute to his behavior. Theories provide an insight into the past, the present, and the future. It lets social workers know what may have occurred in the past, what might occur in the future, and what is currently occurring with the client. Theories also inform the social worker practice as a whole by providing a framework or a foundation, or just like a basis for which we understand our clients and the situations that they may experience or go through. It also helps us understand what may happen when we apply a certain method or approach to a certain client. Today we'll be discussing three theories in particular. The first one is the cognitive development theory. They have two approaches to this theory. It's the John Piaget approach and the Lev Vygotsky approach. John Piaget focuses on the child's ability to adapt to situations or experiences, while Vygotsky focuses on the role that the culture and that their social interactions may play in their cognitive development. And by cognitive development, they're focusing on how children acquire knowledge and how that knowledge is then transferred into the ability to reason or problem solve. Piaget believes that a child's cognitive development is developed through self-discovery, while Vygotsky believes that children learn through instruction and guidance and through the informal and formal conversations that they have with adults. Piaget believes that children only learn when they're ready, while on the other hand, Vygotsky believes that children development, their cognitive development can be accelerated through the guidance of adults and their peers and through the zone of proximity development. In the zone of proximal development is basically saying that the type of people you surround yourself with can play a role in the way you may think or the way you may behave or the way that you reason. For example, if you hang around people who follow the rules, who look at when solving a problem, they look at different concepts, different ways and solutions to solve that problem, you may develop that way versus if you're hanging around people who don't study, who don't follow rules, who are rebellious, then you may act that way or reason that way, just like those people that you surround yourself around. Piaget believes that language is a result of cognitive development, while Vygotsky believes that language is the key to cognitive development. He believes that social interactions is the most important part of your cognitive development. He believes that, for example, the inner speech is the inner speech part of his theory. He believes that speech begins with communication with adults. And then we use that communication or the things that we learn from those adults and we use them to internally problem solve on our own. John Pierre's theory breaks his theory into four stages of development. the sensomotor stage, the pre-operational thought stage, the concrete operational thought stage, and the formal operational thought. The sensomotor stage is when it starts from birth into the age of 2, and this is when infants uh, acknowledge their sensory and motor skills. Then they transition to the pre-operational stage, which is like early childhood and toddler, and early childhood and toddler. The child begins to think symbolically. They use words and pictures to represent objects. And then there's the concrete operational thought. This is when children begin to, their thinking process and skills begin to advance or gradually expand. They learn through play pretend, and they struggle with logic or taking the point of view of other people. Then they move to the operational thought, um, the formal operational thought process stage, and that's when the child's ability to think um, scientifically, or their ability to use deductive reasoning or understand abstract thoughts increase or advance. The next theory that we will be discussing is the psychosexual theory. And this theory was developed by Sigmund Freud. He conceptualized his theory through motivation and behaviors, domains of conscience, the structure of the personality, the stages of development, and defense mechanism. When talking about motivation and behaviors, he said he believed that all behaviors are motivated, that all behaviors have a purpose, a meaning, that no behavior happens by accident or by random. And when he breaks our mind or our consciousness into 3 parts: the unconscious, the conscious, and the pre-conscious. The unconscious is our inability to reason. This is where our id personality develops and takes place. So we act on impulse. We want what we want, and we want it now. We don't think of others or how our behaviors or feelings may affect others. And then we have the conscious, and this is where the ego and the superego take place. The superego is the part of the conscience where we seek to be perfect or hold up to society's standards. We follow the laws, and this is where our morals and values take place. The ego is the mediator. It satisfies our impulses without offending the superego. So we find appropriate behaviors or ways to satisfy those impulses based on our morals or what society deems appropriate. He also discussed defense mechanisms. So defense mechanisms are ways that individuals protect themselves from discomfort or anxiety so that the individual can continue to function effectively. He talked about regression and repression. So repression is our ability to push away or hide events that make us feel uncomfortable or give us anxiety into our consciousness. Well, regression is where we revert back to a previous or past sexual drive or mindset or way of thought or way of problem solving and things like that. His theory is broken up into 5 stages as shown below. It starts at infancy with oral behavior. So everything that we experience is oral, whether it's sucking, swallowing, putting things in our mouth, teeth developing, things like that. And then last is all the way to our adolescent stage, which is our genital stage, and this is where we start to have sexual intercourse and that our sexual drive really advance and stuff like that. Another person we'll discuss is, well, another theory that we will discuss is the psychosocial theory. And this theory was developed by Erik Erikson, and he modified for a sexual, psychosexual theory. In this theory, he emphasized the social nature of our development rather than the sexual nature. He believed that the personality development takes place throughout our whole lifespan, as opposed to Freud's belief that our personality is shaped only in our childhood. When he first developed this theory, he believed that we experience 8 stages of development. And then the authors of the book that I'm using, Newman and Newman, added 3 more stages to it. So this theory says that we experience 11 stages of development over our lifespan, from infancy to adulthood. So Erik Erikson suggests that we are motivated by a need to achieve competence in certain areas of our lives called developmental tasks. So those are the skills and tasks that we have to develop at a certain tasks that we have to develop at certain stages in our life. And at each stage, we experience a conflict that we need to resolve. And this is called a psychosocial crisis. We can either we can successfully resolve that crisis, and when we do, we develop prime adaptive qualities. And these are qualities that gives us a positive worldview, give us a sense of competence or healthy personality. And then when we fail to master those crises or resolve those crises, we develop core pathologies. And these are qualities that prevents us from further exploration or relationships, and gives us a negative worldview or a feeling of inadequacy. For example, in the infant stage, we experience the crises of mistrust versus trust. And so infants look at caregivers for stability and consistency in care. So if the caregiver is constant and reliable, the infant develops trust. But if not, they develop mistrust. Trust results in the positive prime adaptive quality, hope. So we believe that people will be there for us in the future to give us support. But if we develop mistrust, it results in the core pathology of withdrawal and fear. So we will not have confidence in ourselves or the world, and we will not be looking forward to experiencing opportunity experiences and relationships. All these theories that I have discussed plays a huge role in our development, and social workers use this all the time to explain why we're experiencing certain behaviors at certain stages or certain ages in our life. And these theories can help us explain a lot when dealing with clients and their situations. So I want to thank y'all for allowing me to speak. I really appreciate it, and I hope that y'all have gained some type of knowledge from the things that I have told you and gave you. Thank you.